The debate learning experience doesn't end with the tournament. It's important for coaches to keep debaters engaged in between tournaments with different activities and teaching methods.
Find time to do practice rounds, helping them stay up to date and abreast of new arguments. The internet has transformed the activity, and so the amount of information that's available to students, not just about arguments, but about what arguments other teams are making at other tournaments, so that they can help prepare themselves better.
Listen to practice debates and practice speeches, I think is essential. Just even allowing the students to participate in a brainstorming session, even if you're just facilitating it, just making sure the students are having it, for them to talk about the arguments that they had at the tournaments when they come back, and reasons why they lost. I think it's always good to have that Monday be about debriefing from problems that they had at the tournament. Even if you're not centrally coaching them in the arguments, it's good for them to have the space in order to do that.
Having it sort of student focused and have the ideas come out of the student, and I think most excellent educators think that way anyhow. But that would be the sort of first discussion. It's not a top-down activity. Most of the education actually happens laterally between the students sort of teaching each other. And if I have a debate, that's one-sided, for example, rather than me explaining after the debate's over what to do, I'll ask the team that was maybe up on the particular argument to talk to the other folks about how you might respond to the argument. And typically the students are very happy to share. And I think, like I said, it's not a top-down process. It's a lateral educational process, which I think is kind of cool.
It's better if you work with the student who's saying the least and not the student that's necessarily saying the most, because a lot of people will put their attention on the kid that they get feedback from, but not the students who don't give them feedback. And that's just something naturally you do as a teacher. But you got to focus on the kid that's not talking, because they're the one who probably needs the help the most. But ultimately, those kids end up being good debaters and, really falling in love with debate because it became as a challenge to them. And once they conquered it, they pretty much stayed in the program. So
one of the best things in the world for young coaches and young debaters is to have what I always call the question wall. And the question wall is that you can just walk up and put any question on there or any sort of phrase or anything like that, and that became a sort of teaching moment. They said this word, and I had no idea what it was. And it may not have been even a debate word. It may have just been a vocabulary word that the kid was not familiar with, and they felt like they didn't understand what asymmetrical proliferation was. And so to put asymmetrical proliferation on the board and explain what that is, right? Even if the teacher has to figure out what it is, then they go back the next time and say, if someone says that word, I'm okay with that.
So we do sometimes some classroom cross-examination. So a student gets up and reads a 1AC, and all of the students in the class will ask questions. And that helps familiarize everyone with the arguments, and it also gets them over their anxiety about answering questions. And typically I'll have a more experienced student be the one that's, fielding the questions.